I want Net Lease TV.
Net Lease TV, big guy. How do you feel?
I feel great. Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
All right. I'm glad to have you. I know we had you before, and we did a little bit of music in our last interview. So we both have that left brain going on, right? We both have the left brain thing going on, which is great. Do you use your left brain in your deal making much?
I think so. I think that creativity, really comes into play and helps me to, navigate certain nuances or maybe understand a deal in a way I wouldn't otherwise. So I definitely believe that I'm able to utilize that. I mean, I used to, when I was newer in the business, I used to utilize my creativity, through my aerials and drone work and all that. I kind of outsource most of that from me at this point, but, I'm still able to definitely utilize that part of my brain, no doubt.
I gotta say, you're one articulate guy. I think that you should go into politics. Has anybody ever told you that? I think you're perfect
I
for it.
appreciate the compliment,
You
but I'm
definitely
very
give
happy.
a gab, you know?
Yeah, I'm happy as a commercial real estate broker who also, does a lot of speaking on shows like yours.
Ever since I saw you, I just thought that guy, he's really articulate. You're an easy interviewee and you're a great interviewer, and I think it's just practice through the years, right? Have you
Yeah,
done a
yeah.
lot of public speaking?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of opportunity. I've probably spoken on 350 podcasts at this point and recorded, 167 of my own. So just a lot about, experience and opportunity and a lot of public speaking. I love it. I mean, I love to present and speak in public. Most people don't. So I think that kind of just sets me apart.
Dan, my attorney's name is Jim Lewkowicz. Now
Oh, yeah.
imagine if we do a deal together. I was thinking about it sitting in my bed last night. If I did a deal with Dan and Jim, it'd be a little confusing. Jim Lewkowicz and Dan Lewkowicz. That would
That's
be an
right.
interesting take on a deal, right? We'll have to figure that one out. But do you
Let's
know
do it.
Jim?
Let's.
Do you know
I
Jim?
don't
My
know him.
Jim?
No, I don't. But
So
I'd love to
Jim's
have that
really
problem.
good. Jim used to work with Yvette Flores that worked at Walgreens. And if you should meet Jim. He's an amazing attorney. He's represented a majority of my buyers, and he doesn't, he's very detail oriented. And when you have Jim next to you on a deal, you feel very comfortable.
Sure.
You also work with Dino.
Bistleritis.
He's got a lot of great listings. I see that he's posting. He's pretty active on LinkedIn. Is he your main broker, or are you guys all kind of like partners, or is Dino the
Yeah.
main
So,
broker at your brokerage?
Dino is Dino is as good as they get. I mean, he's an incredible
Okay.
individual, ultra humble, ultra knowledgeable. I mean, I consider him a brother and a close friend. I love the guy to death. He is our broker, so a lot of the listings you'll see people put his name on there for exposure. And Dino is actually just inducted into the Commercial Real Estate Hall of Fame, which is pretty incredible. So he's just doing great things, closing a lot of deals, and again, I've really never met a guy who's as successful yet as humble as Dino Beslerides.
So now, you left, right, for a little while, kind of like Evan Lyons. Didn't you
No,
leave?
I've been here the whole time.
You stick it out. You stuck it out the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
Evan went to a developer and then he came back. Do you represent more buyers, sellers, or just kind of a combination?
Definitely sellers. I like to have control over the deal, so I represent sellers. Frankly, though, on probably about 80% of my listings that I
Uh-huh.
list representing the seller, I also will find the buyer and represent the buyer. And then I'll work with buyers who have worked with me as repeat clients to help them find deals. But I'm not out there spending a lot of my time searching for deals for people that I haven't closed with.
You know what, Dan? I just did a deal with and Nesca Golik. I don't know if you know Ted
Yeah,
Dowdy.
I actually I saw her on one of your Net Lease live panels.
Talk about a rising star. She for a while there, she kind of really didn't get the brokerage. But when I talked to her, she said she's kind of pretty much jumped into it, and now she's hooking up pretty good and really doing a great job for her buyer clients and sellers. You ought to try to reach out to her. She does a great job.
I will.
Ted's doing a really good job. Ted's really good at technology. He's really embraced technology. I kind of think of him as kind of attack commercial real estate, which that's kind of the direction I think in the future. I think commercial real estate is going to be really virtual, right? You're not going to go to properties. It's going to be videos, and just like this, pretty much, it's going to be virtual reality in the future. I think that like OMs are going to change. I think that it'll be kind of like in residential. There'll be tours, video tours of the properties, and you'll be, with drone footage and all this other thing. I think that's really the direction that listings are going to go. What do you think with, electronic media?
Yeah, I mean, we're already such a hands-off business. I mean, obviously, as a broker, we're very busy and hands-on in terms of the deal. But if I'm selling a property in Kansas or in Washington, I'm not at that property. The buyer client may or may not go visit the property, but at the end of the day, this is not like residential real estate where people are going to go in and examine the paint color or like see how they feel about the layout. Those things don't matter, right? Especially in net lease. We're dealing with essentially a bond that's wrapped up in sticks and bricks. So really the most important thing is to understand, the fundamentals of the lease, underwriting the lease, the tenant strength, the guarantee strength, how is the tenant performing, all those factors, which really can be analyzed without being at the site, right? Especially today when you have drone footage and drone videos and drone photos to be able to see what's going on. So I would agree with you. I mean, technology has definitely enhanced our industry. I'm very interested to see how, it moves forward. I think there are a lot of the tasks in the day-to-day of an investor and a broker that can be automated or that can, benefit from things like artificial intelligence. So I'm definitely very excited to see where the future will take us.
I did a pretty cool hack. We own a building in Ohio, in Parma, and we have
Okay.
Save-A-Lot in our building, and we're re-tenanting it. It's a 36,000 square foot building. It's like, I think, 180 by 200. But what I did, what's cool on Google Street View is you can do an overhead, right?
Yeah.
Click on your mouse and then measure the distance, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like when I had to redo the parking lot. So I basically used that tool and I measured the building with that crazy thing. Now, we own apartments. My brother was telling me the other day, we did the same thing at our apartments. The roofer did it. He measured all the roofs and he didn't even have to come out. He just did it online, right-clicked and figured the distance, and bang, he gave us a quote. But technology-wise, I guess it could create more errors and omissions, possibly, if something's incorrect. I mean, the other thing with our business is that, it still is relationships, right? If you're going with a weaker tenant, like a franchise deal, it may be a good idea to meet the tenant. What do you think? Just to get to know the guy. And, he's going to be paying your rent. So you're going to be kind of married up with that tenant for quite a long time. And if they're not real strong, it may be a good idea. Have you ever heard of Ben Malla?
Of what?
I don't know. Ben Malla. He's out of Florida. He's got a podcast.
No, I don't think so.
He's a pretty good guy. That's what Ben Malla, I think he said he's worth like 200 million. And he's a developer. He's not a developer. He's an investor. And he came in, he did a lot of apartments, value add apartments, and now he's rolling into net lease. But one of his tips in one of his shows was that, you better get to know your tenant because you're going to kind of be with that guy to see what kind of character he is. Is he going to be, late on the rent? Is he a reputable person that you want to be with?
About the most important thing in operating your rental property. Before you even buy a property, you better learn how to rent it, because that is the key to being successful in rental property. The biggest mistake you're gonna make in the rental business is not renting to the right person or not properly screening your tenant. I've had so many horror stories because I felt sorry for people. I believe they're bullshit. Okay, when you rent an apartment to somebody or a house, you're letting this person in your life. You're depending on this person to pay you and not make your life miserable. because they can, believe me. I've had people that would offer to pay me a year in advance, but I said no. I learned. All money ain't good money. Yeah, they're gonna give me that big chunk of money up front, and then for the next year, they're gonna make my life hell. I don't need it. You need to know how to screen your tenants or prospective tenants, and you better make sure you do everything you need to do.
Volume go up. It's just very difficult when, even as I mentioned, that Dollar General that saw that 125, 150 basis point swing, it still is trading at a cap rate lower than it could be financed at. So that's going to automatically put a damper on the amount of transactional volume that we see.
Yeah. Do you know Sam Zell? He passed
Yeah.
away.
I mean, I don't know him, but yeah.
They used to call him the grave dancer, right? He used to dance
Yeah.
around a grave. What they meant, right, is when he saw some properties that were pretty beat up, he was there to put in some, try to get a deal that was kind of in the grave. Well,
Right.
I got to believe right now there's a lot of grave dancers looking at net lease with these cap rates. I mean, I think that are you seeing mostly cash buyers, or are there people looking?
It's still a mixed, a lot of cash buyers, but I mean, I'm just what I did about a year ago when I saw what was going on, I wanted to make sure that my volume stayed up. So I kind of pivoted a little bit, Chris, and I started dealing with shorter term assets or more distressed properties. That way I was dealing with property that was going to trade at a higher cap rate, which gave me that buffer because I figured there'd be interest. Like, there's a deal, this Burger King I'm selling, we're closing at a 10 cap. The buyer's getting financing at a 7.6 cap. So, or 7.6%. So that makes sense. So I really started focusing a little bit more on shorter term assets that are going to trade at higher cap rates in order to make sure that my production stayed high.
Would you say a buyer, a buyer profile is a little bit different? There's got to be a little more, roll up their sleeves, right? Roll up their sleeves and get in there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was eager to buy.
And
people were eager to buy. When deals were flying, everybody was an investor, right? But now I think that a lot of people went to the sidelines and people are scared, and you're dealing with more sophisticated investors who are saying, no, I understand what's going on. I understand the risk, but I'm still making this calculated move. So the buyer profile has definitely changed. And you're dealing with people that can afford to put up more cash, maybe have a little bit lower leverage, right? And then in certain deals, they're trading more, to cash buyers, which has limited the market size of the marketplace. But in general, you're absolutely right. The buyer profile has for sure changed.
Has changed. Now, I'm going to be, just so you know, I'm going to be at ICSC next week in San Diego, October 25th. It starts on Wednesday, and I'll be there through Friday. So if you come out to San Diego, or if you're watching this, call me. I'd love to meet you. My number is 760-803-6464. So if you plan to come to ICSC, I'd love to meet you at ICSC. Everybody out there, subscribe. All right, Dan, I need you to help me spread the word. I want you
Let's do it.
Hit the damn subscribe button. Hit it. And the bell. Hit that bell, because I need subscribers. All right. So definitely subscribe to Net Lease TV. We're going to come up with more ideas for Net Lease TV. We'll probably do some more Net Lease TV on tour. Have you seen any of my Net Lease TV on tour? They're a lot of fun. I did one. Ferrara, New York. I did England, Harrods.
Nice.
We jet skied. That was a fun one. We jet skied from Long Beach to Catalina.
Nice.
We did Tacos El Gordo. That was a fun one. So, and then also we're doing the educational ones. Like I did the one where we figure, like, if an investor comes in, wants a certain return, how to algebraically figure that out using a loan constant. That's a pretty informational one. Dan, are you going to be anywhere coming up that, people can meet with you? ICSC, in Michigan, where's your office?
So in Michigan, Yeah, we're in West Bloomfield, Michigan. I live in Birmingham, Michigan. I just got back from 2.5 weeks in Scottsdale. So I'll probably be back out there again later this year when it gets too cold for me here in Michigan. But other than that, I don't have many plans, to hit many events. I probably will go to ICSC in Vegas in May. But aside from that, I mean, I'm open, obviously, always open to travel. If there's a good event or a good reason. And if anybody's local or in the area, definitely, will make myself available to get together and see what kind of deals we can put together.
Awesome, Dan. You're an amazing guest. Hey, keep up. Now, what are your show? I see you're doing a show with a partner, female partner, right? That you do.
Well, so I've been doing a lot of these LinkedIn Live events, and
okay.
I did one last month with Chelsea Garber, who's an incredible young lady. She's a syndicator, capital raiser, apartment investor. I've got one on Friday of this week, 2 days from now, with Sean from Cost Segregation Specialists, as well as Peyton Gillis, who's a CPA, about talking about how do we maximize tax advantages and cost segregation and depreciation, et cetera, et cetera. Both those events are sponsored by Crexy. So I'm going to be doing probably one a month, just to keep up that educational outreach. Yeah, let's do it, man.
I'd love to do a live event. That's so much fun. And do you kind of have somebody monitoring what everybody's commenting as
that's me. That's part of what my responsibility is.
That's so much fun. I'd love to do one. And I'll watch yours if you can keep me on your list. I want to see the format of how you're doing it. That sounds like a lot of fun. We got to try to do, I'd love to do one of those at ICSC, like a live event at ICSC in the future.
That'd be great.
Maybe me and you next year in May, we should try in Vegas to do a live event. But so now, did you give me your cell phone? How people can reach you?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I post daily. I try to put out as much educational content as I can. My first name is Dan, last name Lewkowicz, Lewkowicz. Again, Lewkowicz. And then you can also reach me directly on my cell phone, 248-943-2838. Again, 248-943-2838. If you have property you want to sell, if you've got a deal you want to underwrite, if you just need an extra set of eyes or somebody to talk to, I'm always happy to lend a hand, so please reach out.
Thanks again, Dan. You're an awesome guest, buddy. Thank you for being on Net Lease TV.
I know.